Work. Now, if you wanted to join us and did not make it in time, I want you to hear this. The next cohort is coming. I do not have the firm dates yet, but I do have a waiting list. And everyone on that list will receive early access and special discounts when enrollment opens. After almost 40 years of interviewing world leaders and cultural icons, I am teaching everything I know. Don't miss your chance to be in the next room. Go to TavishTalks.com and get on the waiting list right now. That's TavishTalks.com. The conversation continues. Will you be part of it?
Yeah, man.
Sound crazy, but I wanna go outside in the rain. 'Cause I think I'm gonna cry.
KBLA Talk 1580. Our next guest chose that song, and he took us way, way, way back, but I do too, actually. He's an American author, he's an historian, he's a radio host from the Bay. He reps it hard. He's best known as the author of Funk, the Music, the People, the Rhythm of the One. He's got his Ph.D. from UC Berkeley, teaches there. And many other places. When he's not busy on his own mic, he graces ours. Dr. Rickey Vincent, good morning.
Good morning, Dominique. How you doing?
I'm good. I actually was already outside in the rain, but I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, well, out on the West Coast, we can't get away from it. And, so you deal with it, but the way to deal with these things is some perfect soul music.
Yes.
There's good soul music, and then there's perfect soul songs, and to me, that was one of them by the Dramatics.
Okay, so when you say there's good and there's perfect, tell us the difference. What's the difference between a good soul song and a perfect soul song?
Well, there is no note that is out of place. There is no lapse in the emotional authority delivered by the performer and usually the singer, but there's also a lot of other things going on. I think about Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway's "Where's the Love," and you can sit there and listen to both vocalists at their peak. But then you can unpack it and listen to the rhythms in there. And I studied the song one time, and it was written by Ralph McDonald, the percussionist. And when you dig in, or the further you dig into these great soul songs, you find masters at every level, and you can trust them. And there's plenty of talented people around, but when you get masters together in the room that understand, and jazz musicians say the same thing. If you understand the group and you understand the individual, aspiration all together, then magic can happen.
I said the stylistics.
There's plenty of good results.
I should have said the dramatics. I said the stylistics, the dramatics. Since you chose the song, talk a little bit about the dramatics. I think maybe we don't, it's one of the groups you don't hear about as much. Well,
I remember wondering what happened to the dramatics, and I I'm trying to think if it was Ice-T or Snoop Dogg or somebody replayed one of their kind of smooth player songs, and I'm like, yeah, the Dramatics, they were, this group. They're actually from the Northeast, from the Detroit area, I believe, but they were sort of grabbed by the next generation of hip hop in the 80s when they were first sampling and treating like legends people like Curtis Mayfield,
Right.
and the folks that could sort of draw a landscape of the street through their music, and the Dramatics did a lot of that, which was fascinating to me because they were on Stax Records, which is out of Memphis, but they weren't from Memphis.
Right, they're from
And
Detroit.
they were,
yeah, that's crazy.
Right, so they were sort of a bit of not really a misnomer, but they just had their own path. But when it came time to let me drop something with authority, and what's this song where what you see is what you get. I mean, those notes, those riffs are embedded in our souls, in our identities. You can't get away from them. And when they say, "Well, we don't have any medical way of treating somebody that's kind of fading, and they don't have their awareness," play them an old soul song, and everything comes back, because that stuff it's baked in right now. And so the Dramatics had a run of those, and I think Ron Banks was one of their leaders, and if you're in Detroit, you're going to wind up recording with George Clinton sooner or later. So us crate diggers love to look on the back of records and see who wound up over there, who wound up in the sessions, doing things with George and stuff like that. So the Dramatics have they check all the boxes, and you can't get away from that. Well, maybe people do. We move on, but at the same time, it's always a special thing to recognize our roots, recognize where we came from, and when you want to snuggle up and warm up on a cold day, a wet day, great soul music is the way to do that.
It's funny too because I said you don't hear about them as much in the mainstream discourse, but apparently, according to Wikipedia, they've been sampled 128 times, which is a lot of samples. And so I remember one time when I had my show Home Turf back in the Bay, I interviewed George Clinton, and one of the things he said was that he didn't really care for rap that much, but he loved the fact that they were sampling his songs because he was getting paid. But that's not always the case, is it?
It's not always the case, and we kind of mistake recognition for actual financial stability and financial accumulation, and that sort of goes into our own sense of our pop culture in this. It reminds me. It goes back. There was a movie about chess records called Cadillac Records, and Mos Def was playing Chuck Berry, and they're having fun with his new hit, and he gets to sit down in a room with the rock and roll DJ, the famous rock and roll DJ
Freed,
at that time, Alan Freed, the guy playing Alan Freed, and he sits down with Chuck Berry and the chess records guy. And he says, and he points at Chuck, and he says, "I'm going to make you famous." And he points at the chess records guy and says, "I'm going to make you rich." And Mos Def says, "Well, wait, let's switch sides here. Let me get on this side of it." Now say that again, but that was always the plan. That was like, give these guys a Cadillac and keep them happy on the short term, and we will cash in long term. And you'd be set for life, set for generations off of what these black artists did. And that's been the formula for so long, and it really hasn't been exposed. So even when you hear about a song or an artist getting recognized, or even appearing on a sort of a remake of a song, and you're like, hey, they're getting their flowers and their propers, but that doesn't mean they're getting their debts paid. That doesn't mean they have health care. That doesn't mean, that their children are doing well based on what, the parents accomplished for 50 years. And that somehow we have a blind spot there. And we're not recognizing those people that put in that kind of work. We lost Jesse Jackson, and, all the recognition for him is well deserved. But, he's on a Curtis Mayfield documentary, giving it up for Curtis Mayfield. Curtis Mayfield put in as much work, really, for the people as Jesse Jackson did. And I don't mean any disrespect at all to either one of them. They both did. But we know how to sort of recognize one sort of type of soul and spirit, because that's just the way the West is set up for us to do. And we just sort of wish the best for these artists when there should be an institution on the level of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well, I think that there's a couple of things that contribute to that. First of all, for people like me, regular media people that aren't super famous, we're not on the Today Show or whatever, we don't have access to big name artists most of the time. There's publicists and layers and layers and layers. Then there's this narrative in a lot of these movies, like that one you just talked about, but not that one as much as some others, where it's, Chuck Berry and certain artists were ripped off, but that's in the past. We don't do that anymore. Now, now artists have lawyers, and they have sophisticated contracts, and they know what they're doing, so they're getting paid. And you see one or two artists that are billionaires, so we assume they're all rich. And three, the advent of streaming, has really made it harder also for artists to make a living, not even touching on AI. So I think that while in some senses things have gotten harder for artists as far as making a living, the narrative is that they're doing better.
Well, I'd like to hear from some musicians that could agree to that, because when it trickles all the way down, many of the artists that I appreciate the most are still on the road.
Yeah,
and that's how they can do it. They're dedicated. They're dedicated, but they're also desperate in a way that's not glamorous.
It's not fair either. It's terrible.
Right.
It's not fair. We're talking with Dr. Rickey Vincent, music historian and author. We'll continue the conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Thanks for starting your morning off with a voice that speaks truth to power and the powerless, getting to the heart of what matters most in our community. This is where authentic conversation meets real action. From breaking news and politics to culture and community solutions, this is where you hear perspectives you won't hear anywhere else. This is where we come together, get informed, and make change happen. You're inside First Things First with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Good morning, sunshine. You make my day.
What's up? What's up? What's up?
We got to laugh the pain away.
Hey, KBLA delegation, happy Black History Month. Around here, we celebrate our culture, our community, and our contributions daily. But this year, as we observe the 100th anniversary of Black History Month celebrations, we're excited about our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, honoring comedy greats. On Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum in downtown LA, we're toasting D.L. Hughley, Melanie Camacho, Earthquake, Munell, Dion Cole, and Martin Lawrence with a surprise guest appearance. A limited number of individual tickets for the luncheon remain, so now would be a good time to head to KBLA1580.com to secure one for yourself. That's KBLA1580.com. A little laughter goes a long way, especially in times like these. So come, join us for our annual KBLA Talk 1580 Black History Month Luncheon, Thursday, February 26th at the Grammy Museum. Again, tickets are available right now at KBLA1580.com.
I hang around my boy. He been married for 6 years. Videotaping his wedding day, never watched it. Now and every day he watch it every day, but he watch it in reverse. Because he said he loves seeing himself take that ring back off of that finger. Walking back down that aisle, just waving at her ugly mother down the church. Getting back in the limo, back at the bachelor party. Look how happy I was.
KBLA Talk 1580 thanks LA City Council members Curran D. Price Jr. and Heather Hutt for being the presenting sponsors at this year's Black History Month luncheon. Honoring excellence, resilience, and achievement, we're KBLA Talk 1580.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Angela was. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $80,000. Felicia was having health problems, got behind on her taxes, interest and penalties were adding up. She called Civic Tax Relief and saved over $15,000. Civic Tax Relief is a professional tax negotiation firm that can protect you from the IRS. If you're getting collection letters, call Civic Tax Relief for a free consultation. They will go to work helping you discover all the relief programs you may qualify for free. James owed the IRS $37,000. Civic Tax Relief represented him against the IRS, and by the time everything was completed, he did not owe the IRS anything. If you are in trouble with the IRS, call Civic Tax Relief for your free consultation now. 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257. Get a free consultation and real tax relief. Call 800-200-2257. 800-200-2257.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
Dr. Rickey Vincent is a renowned music historian. He is an author and a professor. Dr. Vincent, we were talking about how just because an artist is often sampled or because you danced to their song at your wedding or grew up, listening to their music doesn't mean they're paid just because they're famous. I always say that about my parents. Amiri Baraka and Diana Prima people think I have a silver spoon because they know my parents' names. No, I always call it lifestyles of the poor and famous. You can you can be known by a lot of folks and doesn't mean you have any money. But why is that? I was looking at this list of billionaires, black billionaires. Apparently there's like 22 in the whole world. And one is Rihanna, one is Jay-Z, and one is Beyonce. There are no other musicians on that list. Why is Rihanna, and I love Rihanna, why is Rihanna a billionaire, but, Smokey Robinson isn't?
That's a great question. And why aren't we aware of this? And those three that you mentioned, why aren't they sort of making more visible announcement? A part of it is the culture surrounding whatever it is, super wealth and that. I remember Michael Jordan, the basketball player, always got heat because he was like one of the most successful players, of course, but then he was kind of famously kind of joked by Charles Barkley and others that Michael Jordan's a cheapskate, that he wasn't really into doing, social give back type of stuff. He
right.
He was busy accumulating his money, and we are trained to revere that as opposed to recognizing that there's a way in our community that your value is based on how you support your community, things of that nature. And Michael's done what he's done. That's fine, but we don't recognize the distinction. We don't recognize the difference. Those three people made a lot of money, but and they might show up once in a while at a memorial for someone or dedication, but that to me, I'm like, there's a disconnect there. And as much as Beyonce puts little Easter eggs, little nuggets, little history lessons in her videos often. She kind of recognizes these little cultural elements that preceded her generation. Well, the music artists were the ones that had been laying that out through the history of recorded music and the history of videos. And I feel like we just sort of accept this and move on, and that's not. I don't think that is actually telling the truth about our lived experience. When we get around, family gatherings and we talk about the old days and this and that, we talk about the artists and old shows or great times we had, and what was the soundtrack to that? It was all this great music, and people today are studying the music, but not necessarily the people, and giving them recognition for what they've done.
That's wild.
And part of that is it's the sweet and sour of hip hop, because when you tell people where hip hop came from, first of all, that's still foggy. 50 years. Some people
say that, Dr. Vincent, because I've been saying that I mean, no shade to Kool Herc, but they want to say it happened on this day at this time. Man, hip hop was. To me, it's not that cut and dried. And so I'm glad to hear you say that, because you're a reputable scholar and I just run my mouth.
Okay, well, that's fine. You do a good job of that.
Thank
Great job, by the way.
Thank you.
But I was making my own little wacky mixtapes in the 70s because I liked those songs. I said, but I just want the beat. Don't give me the breakdown. I don't want the ballad. Give me the beat. And so it was a generational thing that we were into.
Right.
But on a sort of a deeper scale, even when the OGs, when LL Cool J talks about how hip hop, we came up and we did this thing, and to a large degree, they can say they created this music without elders and every other form, blues, gospel, jazz. The artists in that form were taught by a mentor, by an elder that said, look, this is how you do these chords, and that'll hold the crowd, and boom, 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 boom. And, Ray Charles, everybody will say that, they learn from somebody else that taught them. Well, a lot of the youngsters that put hip-hop together, they didn't have an older family member. All they had was the records. Yeah. The records were their elders.
James Brown was their elder, because everybody was sampling James at first, right?
James Brown was their elder, and they sat down, but not necessarily with James, with his record.
Right,
and
exactly.
Said, well, let me mess with this, let me mess with that. And it's gotten to that point where folks recognize those hooks and those records, but they don't recognize Fred Wesley or Maceo Parker or Jabo Starks or Clyde Stubblefield on the drums, or any of Jimmy Nolan's guitar licks. The guy that did all that, Papa's Got a Brand New Bag and Lick and Stick, all those real clean and tight and crisp riffs that people around the world are dancing to right now.
Yeah.
So it's like, wait a minute, let's just. I'm not saying go back in a do loop and stay there. I'm saying if you recognize where you came from, first of all, it's empowering. It gives you a real good sense of who you are and where you came from, and there's a business model in place. A lot of times, if you travel, there's a little brochure in your airplane that says, come to Nashville. There's an African American music museum there. Come to Memphis. There's a Stax Music Museum there. Come to Detroit. Where the Motown Museum is, and there are places where you can sort of put structure to the recognition of your history and actually make it lucrative. And actually, we'll wind up in the Chamber of Commerce listing of places to go that really a whole community can identify with. And it, like soul music itself, it can cross over and still appeal to its base, which is the Black American population.
The thing about it, I look at Nas and I can't remember the name of the foundation right off the top of my head. They have a foundation that is giving money, like $500,000 in health care benefits to some pioneers of hip hop. Paid in Full Foundation. That's what it's called. Paid in Full Foundation.
Okay.
He's working with a couple of wealthy corporate leaders who are funding this, and Nas has spearheaded this, and they've given money to Rakim and some other folks who are deserving, who are exactly in the position you're talking about with many of these soul music folks. They're still touring. Yes, everyone looks up to them and recognizes them as pioneers, but they're broke, right? And I think about this man, Sonny Williams, who just made his transition a couple weeks ago. I worked with him when I worked at Stevie Wonder's station for all those years. Sonny was the janitor at the station. He would clean up by day, but at night he was touring with the Temptations, singing. And he could sing his butt off. And that to me, and he was such a kind and lovely man, and really helped me out when I was first doing that show Front Page, and a lot of people were getting on my case. He was just so supportive and so kind, and rest in peace, Sonny. But I think about him because to me, he's like a symbol of exactly what you're talking about. And so what can we do? Like, is there an R&B, a funk, a jazz version of a Paid in Full Foundation that can come into being and support these artists or get them paid some kind of way?
Well, there are efforts being made, and but it's almost like trying to win the lottery to turn that around. There's a brother named Robinson who I think he has the Rhythm and Blues Foundation, and there was an effort to put a Rhythm and Blues museum out in between Mississippi and Alabama, out in a rural spot, because finding a location wasn't easy. And so they're going through a lot of struggles. I know the guys at the Dayton Funk Center that have all this material, like uniforms from Roger and Zapp, and some of the work from the equipment of Ohio Players, and it's the material they have is dazzling, but keeping a location that they can kind of build on has always been an uphill battle, and that's where it gets kind of just sort of unreal when you think about how much of this great music is on TV soundtracks. I heard a bunch of classic soul and funk on the Super Bowl and then the All-Star Game. And here are these people making dunks on funk soundtracks, and they're all multimillionaires, all of them. Most of them making more money than they can spend, they donate it somewhere to dodge the taxes. And
hold that thought, Dr. Vincent. I got a heart out here for news, traffic, and sports, but wow, fascinating conversation continues next.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominic DePrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Michael Jordan is celebrating his first Daytona 500 win.
Great strategy by the team, and we gave ourselves a chance at the end, and look, I'm ecstatic.
Tyler Reddick took the checkered flag for Jordan's 2311 racing team, breaking through on the final lap for the organization's 9th NASCAR Cup victory. Reverend Al Sharpton is paying emotional tribute to his mentor, the late Reverend Jesse Jackson. Sharpton called Jackson a consequential and transformative leader who changed this nation and the world, saying Jackson kept the dream alive and taught young people from broken homes, including him, that their spirits were never broken. And Celtic star Jaylen Brown says he was targeted by Beverly Hills police after the officers shut down his All-Star Weekend event. Police say he needed a permit, but Brown insists it was a leadership panel at a reasonable hour, not a party. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Escape the confines of the city for the expansive beauty of the Santa Ynez Valley with a short 2-hour drive up the coast. Let Chumash Casino Resort be your destination getaway. Welcome to freedom. Go to chumashcasino.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The NBA All-Star break did not move LeBron any closer to making a decision about his future. The 41-year-old veteran in his NBA record 23rd season said he has no idea if this will be his final season with the Lakers or if he wants to jump into free agency and finish his career with another team. LeBron is in the final year of a 2-year deal with the Lakers that's paying him $52.6 million. Father Time is knocking on LeBron's door, and he hears those knocks, but there has not been a significant drop in LeBron's performance. Even though injuries this season have sidelined LeBron for 18 games, he's averaging 33 minutes, 22 points, 7.1 assists, and shooting 50% from the floor. He is still one of the NBA's marquee players. LeBron will certainly be quizzed again about his future after the season. The thing to keep on your radar is how different his answer might be. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
They call it progress, but progress has a price. Land once held in black hands, taken, stolen, erased. Acres paved into highways, fields burned. Homes replaced by parking lots and broken promises. Every deed lost was a dream deferred. We talk about millionaires, but what about the millionaires that never were? The farmers whose soil was seized. The families who watched their inheritance disappear. The wealth that never had a chance to grow because its roots were ripped from the ground. They took the land, but never the legacy, because the soil remembers, and so do we. Every story matters. Our mission is to collect, preserve, and amplify these stories. If this is part of your family's history, visit blacklandlost.org/share your story and help bring us closer to justice.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with the world. African Focus Incorporated is a community-based organization whose mission is to bring Africans and African Americans together, lead charitable initiatives on the motherland, and educate people from all walks of life on the beauty, legacy, and opportunity of Africa's 54 nations. And it's that time once again when African Focus is teaming up with KBLA Talk 1580 for our 8th annual African Focus Trailblazers Tour. Travel with us in 2026 when we're headed to the southern African nations of Zambia and Botswana for a historical, cultural, and vacation tour led by me, Dominique DePrima, Cultural Ambassador for African Focus Incorporated. Enjoy luxurious accommodations, conscious fellow travelers, shopping, adventures, cultural tours, wildlife safaris, and a giant waterfall, one of the world's 7 wonders, along with a chance to be of service at an orphanage on the continent. Become an AFI Trailblazer by exploring the motherland with a nonprofit organization that has members in Africa and America to help roll out the red carpet for you, and together we'll make a difference and have fun doing it. For more information, visit africanfocus.org or call 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300 or africanfocus.org. Whether it's stateside or exploring the diaspora, we're with you every step of the way. African Focus and KBLA Talk 1580. Come go with us.
We're not for everybody, but we're for everybody. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah, this conversation is making my mind race all around the world. He's an author, an historian, and a radio host in the Bay Area. He is Dr. Rickey Vincent, and I'm so glad you're on with us this morning celebrating Black history, and we're looking at Black music history. And you were talking about how folks don't get paid, right? Paid in full. Rakim's album.
Well,
folks don't get paid.
That's right. And hip hop is paying attention to some of the. I mean, it's just so vast now as an institution. And the thing is, folks are able to talk about themselves, and that's a comfortable thing. A lot of the artists that, from the soul, funk, blues and jazz generation don't necessarily toot their own horn, and they have a certain humility about themselves, so they're not necessarily making their case that
right.
visible.
I don't think it's just tooting horns, though. I mean, a lot of these folks are marketed as brands. Like, Rihanna hasn't done an album in like 10 years, but she's making her money on, she sold Fenty, I think, to the people that own Fendi. Surprise, surprise. Jay-Z has a deal with the NFL, and on it goes. I don't know why Neo has more money than Sly Stone, but he does. But I think some of it has to be business,
Rihanna
right?
Umbrella.
You have an umbrella. Are you going to go outside in the rain with it?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's kind of old now, but but it was fun. But you're right. There's a whole dimension of it, and the music was just a part of the process.
Right.
But we could go back and understand that the craft is part of the process too, and they're not mutually exclusive of each other. And it's just that one part of it, to the recognizing our founders, it gets lost in the sauce, and we're not able to. And Rihanna and all these other people, and the athletes that are, I don't want to just talk about people and say they're overpaid, but they have discretionary, financial resources, and they could be a part of a soul funk version of Paid in Full Incorporated or whatever that is. That could, and it should be foundational. I mean, we talk about the Kennedy Center is supposed to represent this American. Where's the Stevie Wonder Center? Where's the where are the? God forbid something happens to Stevie. What institution do we have that is even worthy of recognizing the scope of that man's work, from top to bottom? His activist work. We have Martin Luther King's birthday as a national holiday because of the work Stevie Wonder did, who built on his craft, and he embedded it in social change, in activism, in civil rights activism that he came up a part of in Detroit. So all these pieces are connected, but we accept that they're when the history books are written, it's about marches and legal changes on one side of the fence, and then the entertainers are on the other side, and they're just sort of two different stories. And I'm like, wait a minute, it was all lived together, and that's how we lived. That's what we went through. And I remember, Dominique, what changed my career is reading the first few pages of this book by Leroy Jones called Blues People.
My dad.
And it explained just the embedded rage and indignation that so much had been created by these people of African descent in this land. And every song that is written has a thread of that. And once you understand that, every blues song is telling you a truth. It's an emotional truth. It's telling you a truth, regardless of the lyrics. And all of a sudden, you can build on that and understand all your gospel and soul music. You can understand the rowdiness of the freeform funk and the psychedelics and Jimi Hendrix. It all starts to make sense because it's all a flow. It's all this sort of this creative energy that is hard to use. It's hard to contain it with Western constructs of sort of mathematical measurement. You can't do that. But if you understand it all, then like all this stuff is connected. It doesn't belong at different ends of the record store or different websites. It's all our music. But somebody has decided to compartmentalize it so they could contain it and commodify it and get paid while the creators don't. But where do our young people get that information so it's all connected? Sometimes, grandpa might tell folks about that. Sometimes you could learn from grandma when she's cooking and explaining how things all fit together. But that's on us. It's heavy lifting. It needs to be done because this is that's a a wealth source. It's a wealth of knowledge, which will help us fight everyday, struggles. But it's also really a foundational aspect of the community's wealth, and we could be initiating that. And a few people are. It just needs to be done more. I'm waiting for an enlightened superstar Kyrie Irving type to say, look, let's create a foundation for these music artists that gave us hip hop, that gave us the beats that the world is dancing to today.
Right, the funky forefathers. I mean, I don't know why. To me, it makes sense for it to be Jay and Beyonce because they are both billionaires. But whoever it is, you said you don't think we have an institution, and you don't think the Grammys, the Soul Train Awards, the NAACP Awards, or the Motown Museum are mighty enough, or in the case of the Grammys, have the intentionality to get that done.
Those are all sort of polite first steps. I'm not about to disrespect anybody that is doing some of that work, because that's work. That's hard work, because you have to change the model, change the paradigm, what people are thinking about. I just want to be entertained. Just give me some of that. Give me that big grin.
Right.
Give me that smile. Benny King had those big teeth. Give me a grin like that. Let me enjoy that. But it's bigger, and these are human beings. And what was the whole civil rights movement about? With the brothers with the placards, "I am a man," in 1968 in Memphis, right? They were saying, look, recognize us as human beings. And so our musical mentors that are in many, many ways were guiding us through some very, very rough times, which we need to recognize that for ourselves, not just to make sure that Frankie Beverly and Mays get paid, and make sure that Lakeside, gets taken care of in terms of giving us 50 years of joy. It's bigger than that. It's for us to know where we came from so we can move on.
Yeah, for the culture. So I wanted to at least talk a little bit about Sly Stone. We started this conversation around the Grammy Awards because the mention of him for many fans of the music, the in memoriam mention and their tribute was lacking. And that
was lacking.
Yeah, go ahead.
It was lacking in substance and in time. It didn't represent the overall scope. And what I mean overall scope is they could have had a lighting system that showed Sly and Family Stone imagery, album art throughout the night, because so much of pop music was based on the work of Sly Stone. But the problem is, first of all, it's hard for folks to get that off the top of their head unless they lived it. And secondly, Sly was so generous, he never turned around and said, "That's my idea. You stole all those beats. You made everything." I used to listen to KC and the Sunshine Band, and I was like, well, this sure is exciting. Well, this sure is upbeat. Well, this sure is, wow, this is everything Sly and the Family Stone has done, minus the compelling lyrics. I mean, I suppose it's compelling in Shake, Shake, Shake Your Booty. I suppose that's compelling at some level.
It's compelling for your booty.
It's compelling for your booty. And the dance floor and all that is cool. But Sly was able to combine all of those things, which gave permission for Earth, Wind, and Fire and Stevie Wonder and these people to develop musically to the point where the bands could stand on their own and they competed with one another with friendly competition, and the vocalists could compete on their own. Have you tried to listen to Taylor Swift's version of September by Earth, Wind, and Fire?
No.
It just, I don't want
can't do that.
Be hating. But at some point, she had to realize, wait a minute, not only is the band doing something musically that no band around today could even come close to reaching, even with all the harmonies, their vocals are just so advanced beyond, the structure, the way Maurice White arranged everything. All these pieces were in place, and it's just something that we need to turn around and give some acknowledgement of this. And really, Sly Stone gave everybody the template for making what we celebrate as great modern music. And to not be able to just treat them like an afterthought, that was unpleasant. I'll just leave it there. I mean, I was glad to see that Grammy Awards tribute to Roberta Flack and some of the other greats that were there. I thought they really worked hard
D'Angelo,
at that, and I'm not disrespecting, but when it comes to Sly, he was on another level. The other artists of that era recognized that, but aside from Questlove's fantastic documentary on Sly that came out the very same year, right? Sly passed away like 3 months after that thing came out. And that thing was 30 years late. It could have been done in 1975, not 2025.
Yeah.
Because of what Sly had accomplished. So where's the Sly Stone Museum? Okay, that'll take a little bit
There's
of
a project
up here in the Bay.
There you go.
It'll take some recognition, and hey, Steph Curry's out here. He could just cut a fingernail's worth of nonprofit, donation money to a foundation of that would kind of wake people up and make people see how all these pieces are connected. But you do what you can do, and meanwhile, we're going to play that music and we're going to wear it out.
We're going to keep wearing it out. Dr. Rickey Vincent, as you know, we have breaking news with the sad transition of the Reverend Jesse Jackson, and we have our Congresswoman who was long-time colleague of Reverend Jackson's joining us this morning to say a few words about the Reverend. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I always love talking with you. I feel smarter when I'm done.
Well, thank you, Dominique. I love doing this. And Jesse's on a song by the Stetsasonic about Africa. You want to talk about your trip back to Africa? AFRICA, Angola, Soweto, Zimbabwe. Look that up, because it opens with Jesse Jackson at the Democratic Convention talking about South Africa. It's a moral disgrace. It's a moral disgrace. So the music is there to give us what we need. All we got to do is open our eyes and ears.
That's Black History. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
Getting around LA doesn't have to cost a lot. Metro has fares that fit every budget. 20 free rides for qualified riders through the Life Fare program. Free passes for students with GoPass and affordable options for everyone in between. Wherever you're going, Metro's got you covered. Visit metro.net/fare programs.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
As a mom, comforting my family is what I do best. Vicks Vapor Stick provides soothing, non-medicated Vicks vapors in an easy-to-apply stick, and it dries fast, so there's no mess. I use it to comfort myself and my family.
Thanks, Mom.
Vicks Vapo Stick, soothing comfort for the whole family. And try Vicks Vapo Shower Max for steamy Vicks vapors when you need more comfort for yourself. Use as directed.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project. Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail, and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message. Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I have some news. The room is full. Our founding members cohort on the art of conversation has begun, and I could not be more energized by the professionals who said yes to mastering the craft. Their dedication to curating great conversations reminds me why I do this work. Now, if you wanted to join us and did not make it in time, I want you to hear this. The next cohort is coming. I do not have the firm dates yet, but I do have a waiting list. And everyone on that list will receive early access and special discounts when enrollment opens. After almost 40 years of interviewing world leaders and cultural icons, I am teaching everything I know. Don't miss your chance to be in the next room. Go to TavishTalks.com and get on the waiting list right now. That's TavishTalks.com. The conversation continues. Will you be part of it?
Yeah, man.
It's never too early to start talking about money in realistic ways with your kids. JP Morgan Chase navigates how to educate your kids now about creating long-lasting, healthy money habits. Whether your kids are in elementary school, high school, or college, now is a great time to start a conversation about ways to create healthy money habits as they grow, ultimately benefiting their financial future. Talking about money in a realistic way to support your kids' lifestyle and dreams, your first banking account geared towards high school or college. It's never too early. Explaining the basics, what you earn and what you spend, building financial confidence starts with getting organized. Learning and practicing vital money skills now will stay with them for life. Tools they will have to stay on top of their finances and achieve their goals. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
The conversation continues right now with Dominic DePrima on First Things First.
Foreign policy must be characterized by mutual respect. Our nation at its best feeds the hungry. Our nation at its worst, our nation will have partnership with South Africa. Free, 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 free. That's the moral of this quiz. It's the moral of this quiz. It's the moral of this quiz. A-F-R-I-C-A. Angola, Soweto, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, Zambia, Mozambique, and Botswana. So let us speak about the motherland. I know this girl whose name is Lola. She lives
KBLA Talk 1580. Not sure what happened here. We were contacted by Congresswoman Maxine Waters, and we're expecting her to call in with her tribute. As you probably know, Congresswoman Waters and Jesse Jackson were good friends and worked together for many years in this political space. But apparently we have not, they've not been able to reach her back again. She called early this morning trying to get on with us to pay tribute to Reverend Jesse Jackson, and apparently that has not happened. But I will say this, I'm going to end where we started, and I'm confident that Tavis Smiley, I know because he was just in here getting things together, that he is going to deliver some of the interviews that he had with Jesse Jackson over the years, and the very impactful nature of those interviews and the work that Reverend Jackson did. I will say this, where I started this morning is that Reverend Jesse Jackson was a good friend of my father, the late Amiri Baraka, a.k.a. Leroy Jones. One of the reasons for that is because they understood internationalism. They understood that everybody has to have a place, not just in America, but in this world. They understood that centering black leadership did not have to mean that we were not in coalition or in solidarity with others. And because of that, I think that Reverend Jesse Jackson was able to open this modern era of politics, open the space for this modern era of politicians and activists who move in that space, to make room for a Jesse Jackson, to inspire someone like myself to know that we have a place in this movement and we have agency to move. Do we have Congresswoman Waters on the phone? Okay, let's get her on the air because we only have a couple minutes left here, just a couple minutes at the end of the show. Congresswoman Maxine Waters, America's Congresswoman, beloved, known as Auntie Maxine. Congresswoman Maxine Waters, good morning.
Good morning, and thank you so much for calling. I know it's about my dear, closest friend, my brother, Jesse Jackson, and even though he's been sick for quite some time, and we all knew this was coming, it still hits very hard. He was America's brightest leader. He helped to change the Democratic Party, helped to change America, and was our protector for civil rights. And I'll never forget what he's done for this country. I traveled for 6 weeks straight to 1984 across this country with him. He was truly not only a brilliant and talented leader, but when he created the rainbow and brought in everybody, women and farmers, blacks, whites, reds, everybody, he accomplished what we're still trying to do today. So I am, of course, saddened, and my heart is pumping, but he'll always be with me forever.
Well, Congresswoman Waters, we're about to pass the microphone to Tavis Smiley, who has got some beautiful interviews with Reverend Jackson to share with the world. I'm so sorry for your loss and the loss of your family and our loss as a nation, and thank you for paying tribute to the Reverend Jackson this morning.
Thank you for a moment with you right now. I appreciate you so much. One love.
It is time for Tavis Smiley. Like my dad, Mary Baraka. Let's go with Jesse Jackson. Let's keep hope alive. Until next time, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Michael Jordan is celebrating his first Daytona 500 win.
Great strategy by the team, and we gave ourselves a chance at the end. And look, I'm ecstatic.
Tyler Reddick took the checkered flag for Jordan's 2311 racing team, breaking through on the final lap for the organization's